Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to the program of Miskaath and welcome from the break that you had. We are discussing the point on Hajj, and prior to going on a break, we started off on this point of Hajj. And we did mention that like Zakat, Hajj also, it is something that is only compulsory on those that can afford it, those that have that finances to go for this pilgrim, to go for this Hajj. When it came to the belief in Allah, every believer has to believe in the oneness of Allah. They have to believe in the risalat of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When it came to Salah, every Muslim has to do that. When it comes to Zakat, it is something only compulsory upon the rich. And when it comes to Hajj, it is not only the rich, but also on a person who is physically able to go for Hajj. You might be a person that cannot, walk. You have nobody to take you around. You have no one to assist you. But financially, you have sufficient money that might able to purchase you a ticket, that might able to take you towards Medina, Mecca. You have sufficient funds. But physically you are not able to go for Hajj. Then you will have to pay that money to a person who had been for Hajj, or a person that haven't been for Hajj also, that must perform Hajj on your behalf, which is regarded as Hajj Badal. But you are not maaf. You're not forgiven from the performance of Hajj. You will have to either perform the Hajj, and you find that physically you are unwell, you cannot go for Hajj, then that money at least has to be taken out and given to a person that must able to complete the rites and the rituals of Hajj on your behalf. But it's not something that you have the money and you're forgiven. So Hajj is something that a person will have to perform if he has the money and if he has the health. And if he has the money and doesn't have the health, then he will have to give this money to someone where the person will have to perform the Hajj on his behalf. Hajj was made compulsory upon the believers on the 9th Hijri. And if one has the wealth, if one has that health, it must be his desire in life to go and complete this pillar of Islam. And then we have the last pillar of Islam, which is Sawm Ramadan, to fast in the month of Ramadan. When it comes to fasting, here everyone will have to fast for the month of Ramadan. Regardless of your health, if you are not well, if you are ruled out by a physician, by a doctor stating that you cannot perform, you cannot keep the fast, then at least you will have to pay fidya for every fast. In other words, fasting, you have to fast. You have to keep that fast. And if you cannot fast, then you will have to pay fidya for that particular fast. And for a person not to fast in the month of Ramadan, he has to be definitely unwell, where he cannot manage fasting the day, then only he can abstain from keeping the fast, but the person will have to pay fidya. So this is the 5th pillar of Islam. What we have learned from this hadith is that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had said that Islam stands on these 5 pillars. As believers, as Muslims, if we want Islam to stand and Islam to prevail as believers, we will have to establish, we'll have to maintain these 5 pillars of Islam. At all times, make sure that our belief is correct. We'll have to make sure that our salah is established, not in a way where we read namaz today, the following day we don't read namaz. It's something that we have to do 5 times a day, and it has to be done with love and passionate. It is something that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said, it is a gift to you. So you should accept the salah, performance of the salah in a form of a gift, that you should be happy. So all of this put together, respected listeners, it is 5 pillars upon which Islam stands. The moment one pillar is shaky, what happens in a building? If you have a building, you find 2 pillars are very, very firm, but the other 2 pillars are shaky. It is not firm. What happens to that building? That building could collapse. That building could fall down. So therefore it's very, very important that every pillar of Islam has to be firm. When it comes to belief, one has to be firm in its belief. When it comes to salah, one has to be very, very punctual and particular about his salah. He has to make that firm in order for his Islam to stand. You know, we cannot, what you call that, have a house and say that, you know what, I have a house, but my house is there on air, but I have no pillars. Like you say now, let's go for zikr. Let's do this nafil ibadat. The nafil ibadat, the zikr that we do, other sunnat acts, dear brothers, is like having a house which is based on pillars, and then when it comes to the decoration of the house, this is like practicing of nafil ibadat. It's like practicing on certain sunnat. That comes under the decoration of the house. Now you cannot have the decoration of the house without the pillar, without the house existing. It's like I have no house here. There is no house, but I say, you know what, I have got this beautiful painting, and I want to place this painting on this wall when there is no wall. You have an imaginary wall. That painting, and then say, well, let's keep the painting there. What's going to happen to that painting? That painting is going to fall flat down on the ground. In a very similar way, dear brothers and listeners, it's pointless you going and doing a certain nafil ibadat, but you're not doing your farz. Your farz is compulsory. This is your pillar. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had said that Islam is based on these 5 pillars. Establish these pillars. Apart from establishing these pillars, make sure that the pillars are firm. Make sure that your pillars of Islam are not shaky, because we cannot place the deen of Islam on shaky pillars. Then this Islam is going to shake. This Islam is going to fall down. So respected listeners, whether it comes to salah, whether it comes to zakat, whether it comes to hajj, every pillar of Islam has to be firm. Apart from that, you do not have the slightest chance or a leeway to at any time go against any one of the pillars of Islam. Salah, namaz, it's compulsory. No person at any time can come and say, well, I believe in the oneness of Allah. I do believe in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam's risalat, but I don't believe in salah. The moment you go against any one pillar, you immediately become a kafir. You cease to exist as a Muslim. You cannot be a Muslim if you go against any one of these pillars of Islam. That is how important it is. These are compulsory pillars. These pillars, if it's there, Islam is there. If it's not there, Islam is not there. In other words, you have to accept that there is 5 daily salah. If any person, when it comes to salah, when it comes to iman is believe in the oneness of Allah, believe in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam risalat. You cannot take one and leave the other. That is iman. That is shahadat. When it comes to salah, you have to believe on 5 daily salah every day. That is Fajr, Zuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. A person cannot come to you and say, well, I believe in the oneness of Allah, I believe in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam Risalat. When it comes to Salah, I believe I should only be reading Zuhr namaz. The rest of the namaz, I don't believe I should be reading it. He becomes a kafir immediately. Because 5 daily Salah, it is something that has been compulsory on us, unanimously accepted by every Sahaba, unanimously practiced by Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam at every given day, every given time, by all the Sahaba Ikram, all the Tabi'in, Tabi'in, all our Aimma Mujtahideen, none of them went against that. So no person in this century can come and say, well, I don't think so, I have to read 5 daily Salah. I think if I read 2 Salah is sufficient enough. No, you have to accept it, and this is 5 daily Salah. Similarly, when it comes to Zakah, you know, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu lifted his sword, ordered the army that we will have to go and make jihad against these people that refuse to pay zakat. Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, but you know what, you shouldn't be so hard. At the end of the day, they just refuse to pay zakat. Why should you go to the extent of taking out your sword and killing them? Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu warned them. And he replied to Sayyidina Umar Farooq, if a person in the time of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave a dinar, or if he gave a string, and he refuses to give that today, I will take my sword and make jihad against them. That is how important. You don't give out of negligence is one thing, but to go against zakah, that is like making a statement of kufr, going to an act of kufr. So likewise, when it comes to what you call every pillar of Islam, it is compulsory that we don't only accept, we believe in it, and we must practice on it in order to establish our salah, in order to establish our deen, and to stabilize our deen. We will have to make sure that 5 pillars are practiced and safeguarded, and it must be something that must be compulsory upon us. Going against any one of these pillars, it will make you a kafir. Jazakallah khair, wa ma alayna illa al-balagh al-mubin.
لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو